So, first little review video here. I have a FLEXTAIL 3 and I have a regular vacuum pump for sealing food bags. And whilst I was looking to decide which ones I was going to buy for vacuum packing my clothing for my motorbike trips, I came across the two different opportunities. One of using one of these FLEXTAIL items which blows and sucks, and I also came across one of these little vacuum pumps that sucks down vacuum bags also, but for food. So what's the difference between the two? Well, I couldn't find any reviews online that showed the FLEXTAIL actually sucking down a vacuum bag. So I bought one, and I bought one of the food bag vacuum pumps, and I thought I'd give them both a try and record it while I'm doing it, and I can share the outcomes with everybody. So I have 3 towels, all exactly the same, all just been washed. They're all folded exactly the same way. I'm going to put them, all 3 of them, into a vacuum bag, and then I'm going to vacuum them down using the FLEXTAIL. I'm going to vacuum one down with the food bag pump, and we're going to see how they go. And whilst trying to do some research here, the one thing I did find out that was really quite interesting was that you can just suck the air out of these vacuum bags using the power of your lungs and generate the same amount of suction as you can with a FLEXTAIL. When you are sucking with your mouth only and not with your lungs, you can actually draw an awful lot more of a vacuum, something in the same lines as one of these little pumps. So these about 4 or 5 kilopascals, these something like 50 to 60 kilopascals, which is kind of in the range of sucking with your mouth. This is kind of in the range of sucking with your lungs. So without further ado, I'm going to put the towels in the vacuum bags and then get vacuuming. So that's number 1, and let's just try the FLEXTAIL 3 first. So I'm just going to pop this back to back on the vacuum bag and see how much of a vacuum it can pull. Now I haven't put any of the attachments on the back, so it might not get a perfect seal, but I think it should do enough just to suck the air out as it is. And it is sucking the air out, as you can see, but not a great deal. I might need to stick one of the attachments on to get a better vacuum. There we go, I've covered up the holes properly now, and it is vacuuming down very nicely. It is still sucking, and the actual bag is getting thinner, definitely. But I think I am at about the limit there. It's about the limit that it will go to. So I shall turn it off. So that is the limit of a FLEXTAIL 3 here. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to put another towel into another one of these vacuum bags. They're all exactly the same bags, all exactly the same towels, all been washed, folded the same way. And let's just see, how does the pump that is designed for vacuuming, the next one, designed for vacuuming food bags. And the one thing which I am absolutely expecting is that this is going to take ages now, because it only has a tiny little aperture, and whilst it will be vacuuming the bag and sucking the air out of it, it's going to take a long time. I can probably even leave it on there now, and that is just going to take its time, and as you can see, it's taking a long time to suck the air out. A long time, because it's only sucking a tiny amount, but it does actually generate quite a good vacuum. So I could leave that there for ages and leave you stewing, but if you look how much it's holding on there, it is holding on, it's sucking an awful lot. But I can tell you, I have actually had a play with these before, and it's much quicker actually to suck this out with your mouth. So is the limit of me sucking it out by my mouth. And as you can see, even without a FLEXTAIL vacuum pump, I have managed to get the same amount of vacuum and the same amount of compression out of just using my lungs, which does kind of beg the question why you would ever buy one of these in the first place. That said, if you're ever going to blow up a blow-up bed or something else, this is definitely going to make life an awful lot easier. So if you've got the tool and it'll blow both ways, why not? So we've now got these locked down, one by FLEXTAIL 3. It's still fairly flexible though, but that's the limit. This one's quite a lot stiffer, so I've actually managed to draw out more air out of that with my lungs alone. Now this is the point at which one of these comes in handy. So when I put this on now, this is going to take it from, say, 5 kilopascals that this can draw to 50 or something kilopascals. And the one thing that I can see now is that, yes, it is still taking air out of this bag. There's not an awful lot of air to take out of it, but it's still taking it down. And I can see that it's crinkling the bag up a little bit more, and I can feel that the little pump is actually working harder as well. So, which would you use? Would you use one of these little pumps which realistically is probably only moving about 4 litres a minute, to something like this which is moving maybe 200 or 300 litres a minute, which is going to vacuum stuff an awful lot quicker? Or would you have both, so you can draw a lot of air out very quickly using the FLEXTAIL 3, followed by something which is going to draw down a bigger vacuum? But I'm looking at this thing now and I'm wondering really, how much space am I saving? How much space am I saving just by vacuuming out a little bit more air down to a slightly different pressure? So sort of 10 times the pressure out of this pump than this one. So I think I'm going to stop there and just have a quick reflect on this now. The one thing I will say about this now, this is rock solid now. Absolutely rock solid. It's going nowhere. There is no air in that at all. This was just the FLEXTAIL, if you remember. Still very bendy, but that's about the limit of the FLEXTAIL. Again, I can draw this down even more. But where does that leave us in terms of how much volume have we actually saved? So, if I take a spirit level here and put a spirit level across the top of that one, you can see that it has actually taken about another ½ centimetre by using the extra vacuum there. Now, is that space worth it to you? I think I've taken probably, I don't know, maybe 20% volume out of this one, maybe 35% volume out of this one overall. What would you do if you were going abroad? Obviously, I can now suck more out of this just using my mouth rather than using my lungs, and I will be able to make it as stiff as that. So I'm going to give it a go. Probably going to make me a little bit red in the face doing it, but I'll try. So this is now getting really quite stiff, much like this one. So where does that leave me in terms of reviewing the two different pumps? This one will do quite a quick job. It will get it down to the point at which you can just draw the air out with your lungs in about the same time as drawing it down with your lungs. This one absolutely, definitely does take a lot more air out and will make it a lot more compact. But you can use your lungs to take it down halfway, and then you can use your mouth to take it down the rest of the way. And now if we put the spirit level across it, you can see I've managed to achieve the same just using my lungs and using my mouth as I have done using the FLEXTAIL 3 or this little food vacuum pump. So it does beg the question, do you need either of them when you go on your trip to be drawing down vacuum bags to reduce the volume of things? And I can honestly say it's nice to have. Of course, there are other benefits of the FLEXTAIL 3. It has a torch on there, it can blow up as well, but just as a vacuum device, what I would honestly say is you may as well save that volume in your bag. You may as well save that volume in your bag. Buy the vacuum bags by all means, but suck the air out using your lungs and then take out the final bit of air using your mouth, like in a sucking action like you would do with a straw, and you will achieve exactly the same outcome. So save yourself the money, buy the vacuum bags only.